Yo, wild Sunday. I'm talking about one of the best Sundays of sports I've ever seen in my life, man. The only positive thing COVID did was give us everything on the same day. So, but we're here for black quarterbacks. Um, Russell Wilson is amazing. Haskins needs help. Can Kyler Murray be an MVP? Is there a chink in the guy in Kansas City? And did Dak really even contribute to the win, or was he just along for the ride? We got all of that coming up. Black quarterback series, so stay tuned. Let's get it.
Fighting against the black quarterback situation, and then you've got people telling you, your friends saying that you can't make it. It just shows that some of the stigmas that have been against us for so many years are showing that they were just stigmas. I feel like, a black quarterback can never make it in college or professional. Everything's opening up now.
It's not just that black quarterbacks are guys. What you have now is franchise elite passers.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent thousands of racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap and back.
Yo, this is Keith. This is Black Quarterback Series, where we go around every black quarterback around the league. Specifically for black quarterbacks here. We talk about other stuff randomly if it just comes up, but we're specifically doing black quarterbacks from the guy in Kansas City to Tyrod Taylor and to everyone in between. So let's get it. So the first guy we got today is Lamar Jackson. So I don't feel like we're talking about Lamar Jackson. I feel like Lamar Jackson has that LeBron effect now, where he does something spectacular and we just, that's just Lamar. But nobody is paying attention to how well of a passer he is now. 18 for 24, 204 yards, a touchdown, 16 rushing attempts, only 56 rushing yards, and they won pretty convincingly. Special. Running game was rolling as usual. I wouldn't say too much of it was an easy win. You had to break a sweat, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. When we get into talking about my guy Deshaun, I'll tell you guys why it was worse than it. How it could have been worse. So there's not much I can say about Lamar. Lamar is the guy you create on Madden when you won 99 everything. Lamar is the guy you create on Madden when you creating your my player, or I don't know what they call it on Madden. You create your player, you make him tall, you give him the number 7 because you idolize Michael Vick, and you have 99 everything. That is Lamar Jackson right now. He's playing at such a high level, but I don't think he's doing it. He's not doing it with his legs as much. He rushed for 16 attempts, but he only had 56 yards. So I think Harbaugh should scale that back. A little bit and allow him to pass more. Because I think if you allow him to pass more, you'll get better results. As we'll talk about a certain guy who opened up the playbook a little bit, whose coach opened up the playbook a little bit, and he was allowed to flourish. But we'll talk about him later. So, good game by Lamar. There's nothing to really talk about. They're Baltimore. Just a shout out to Mark Ingram. That Wildcat play was beautiful. I'm gonna show you guys the Wildcat player here. That play is beautiful. Direct snap, and then who's the first person to come and hug him? I don't know who the other player was, but then Lamar came right after. So, Ravens being the Ravens, man. They might not lose the game for a while. So, on the opposite end of that spectrum, speaking of coaching, let's talk about how Deshaun Watson literally has no help, right? So, the first half was more or less, to me, from what I saw, as usual, Lamar couldn't get no help. Now, he did throw a bad interception. I will give him that. I don't know what he was looking at. He threw a bad interception. You can't allow that to happen. 26 for 36, 275 yards from touchdown and interception I just mentioned. 36 attempts It ain't even the highest. I think Joe Burrow had like 60 something. That's not conducive to winning. But Deshaun is the only show in town. What you gonna do? He's literally the only show in town. They have no running game for real. I think is it David Johnson? I think David Johnson is Kyler Murray's running back. But the running back that was supposed to be there is not playing well. He's not playing as well as he should. Now I may be wrong, but just from what I saw and looking like I told you guys last week, I got NFL Red Zone. He's not having enough impact on the game to where you got to even worry about the running game. Like I feel like with Deshaun, if you run the ball, just like with LeBron, shout out to the Lakers, just like LeBron, if he shoots, you won. And I feel like that same way about Houston. If you force Houston to run the ball, I feel like you can't get what you need. You can't get what you paid for in Watson. But you need the running game, as we'll see in the Dallas game later. You need the running game so your quarterback can be better. So I would hold Deshaun's feet to the fire, but he had a rough road. He came out, he had to face Kansas City in the first game, then he had to play the Ravens in the second game, and I think if I'm not mistaken, they played the Colts. But that's a divisional matchup, so that could be just as rough. So I don't want it, but Deshaun has a real possibility of starting 0-3, which might not be really, really bad because O'Reilly, or whatever his name is, can be fired. If we got to start 0-5, 0-6 to get that bum out of there, then I'm all for that. But, we're living in a Rona world now, so I don't know who they would hire. They already was behind the 8-ball because of COVID. So, I don't know. It remains to be seen. Last quick thing. It's future keys. I have one more thing to say about Houston and Baltimore. If Houston would have scored more touchdowns instead of field goals, that game would have been a lot closer. And Houston probably could have pulled it out and had a big upset. But the fact that if Hopkins was on that team, they would score more touchdowns, and that's just even more reason as to why they should fire their coach, because there's no reason you should. You have to figure out how to get it done. You have to figure out how to get all your players under contract. That's what good GMs do. Like if you look at Kansas City's payroll, everybody is good. They have everybody locked up for the next 3-4 years. And that's the way a GM's supposed to. And that GM was rewarded by getting an extension. If you know your job, you're not going to get your extension. And hopefully, I don't want them to go 0-4 or 5, but if that's what it takes to get that dude fired, then it is what it is. Let's get into my dark horse MVP in Kyler Murray. So if you guys see me looking over here, I'm looking at my laptop. I'm looking at my notes. Don't ask me why I have notes in two places. It's happened like that. So there's too much Kyler Murray and his weapons. It's the hop effect, like I told you guys last week. It's the hop effect. And I forgot Larry Fitzgerald was even still there. Larry Fitzgerald is still there playing football. Like, people forget that. I completely forgot. And so I looked at the game and I was like, oh, he's still there. You just assumed he was retired. For me, I feel like Kyler Murray has turned a corner and really learned how to use his small frame. Kind of like, I don't want him compared to this guy, but he looks kind of like Barry Sanders. The way he runs, and just the shiftiness in his movements. Kyler Murray kind of looks like Barry Sanders when he's running. But I think Kyler Murray can throw the ball too. 26 for 38, 286 yards, a touchdown and an interception. 8 rushing attempts, 67 yards. So you see, he didn't run too much, but the runs he had were so loud. Like, it's like a player who scores 26 points. But his 26 points were so loud that you think it's more than what it actually was. And that was Kyler Murray this game. He lit them up. He lit them up. and Haskins had no answer. So if you see a lot of our guys played each other, Dwayne Haskins really had no answer. He's trying to make 15. No, oof, cut that, Keys. He's trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. And with him being in Washington, it's just not a good roster. They have a couple of good guys. I think Leonard Collins, I'm not sure his name, but he's still there. Then they got Dwayne on the offensive end, and it's just a mess of a franchise from the name to the team. And they got the right coach there because that was Cam's coach. And Haskins looks like a very poor man's Cam, like a really poor man's Cam right now. So hopefully he can get Haskins together, and they can do something special, because as bad as that division is, you're talking about they might be able to go 7-9 and win the division. And I'm sure he's telling, well, he probably not telling his guys that, but I'm sure he's Ron Rivera. I'm sure Ron Rivera is telling his guys, y'all have a chance to win this division, because of the way Dallas is playing, and the way the Giants are rebuilding, and the way Carson Wentz is looking off. So they have a chance. They have a rare chance, but they got their foot in their mouth if they think they're gonna make any big noise with that type of effort that they had yesterday. And it might just be Kyler Murray is better, and the Cardinals' defense is just ridiculously good. I don't know where this came from. So let's move on to Teddy. So I have let's get his numbers out the way. 33-42, 367 yards, 2 interceptions. One of those interceptions was not very good. And then the second interception, it got pretty much stolen from the receiver. So I don't know what to make of this game. I don't want to say it's a ho-hum game, because it was a ho-hum game. It was a ho-hum game. I don't know what to really make of it, because they were in the game, but they were never in the game. I'm not sure what to really make of it. To me, it didn't look like they were outmatched, but it also didn't look like they were up to task. So it's kind of a hard game to put my finger on. Also, Christian McCaffrey got hurt late in that game, and that's also a rough one. So I don't know. It's a really weird game to put your finger on. Really weird game to put your finger on. So, but I'm gonna say Teddy Bridgewater didn't play bad, but he didn't play well. You can't throw 2 interceptions regardless of how they happen. But the game was close. The game was closer than the score indicated it would be. So you have to close that. And that's big. You like, oh, Keith, why would he do that? He's facing Tom Brady. But Teddy's better than what he put out yesterday. Now, his team is not very good, but I feel Teddy Bridgewater could play better than he played yesterday. Because no touchdowns? Come on. You got to score. Those 2 interceptions are unacceptable. The second one I can understand because the receiver literally got it ripped from his hand. So I get that one, but the other one, no. So let's talk about Kansas City. So Patrick Mahomes, it just, to me, before we talk about Patrick Mahomes, let's talk about Tyrod. So Tyrod had a really weird chest injury at the beginning of the game, and he ended up not playing. He probably lost his spot. I don't want to be that negative and say, oh, he lost his spot, but I was talking about this last week. I said, excuse me, I was saying this last week that there's a possibility that Tyrod could lose his spot, and I wasn't even talking about him losing his spot because of injury. I just assumed he wasn't going to play well and lose it. But Anthony Lynn came out and said that he's not changing quarterbacks and Tyrod is the guy. I understand that, and I appreciate that. But, I cover these quarterbacks and I want to be honest and as unbiased as I can. Justin Herbert played. I think it's Justin Herbert. The guy behind Tyrod, the rookie, the first round pick, played well. He played better than Tyrod Taylor did week 1. But I do appreciate Anthony Lynn not benching him because of an injury. So that remains to be seen. We'll see what happens. So he didn't play, so obviously there's no numbers. But with him still not playing, Kansas City didn't play well. Kansas City looked like they didn't want to be there. It's like when the Bucks played Orlando in the first round, and then they won a game. I think they won 2 games. And he was like, oh my God, Orlando. But everybody knew in the back of their head, Orlando was not going to win. You can't punt the ball to the best quarterback in the league in overtime and not expect to lose. You have to go for that. And Patrick Mahomes, he went for it. They kicked it back to him, and Patrick Mahomes went right down the field. But let's show you how we got here. So, Patrick Mahomes was very slow. He played very slow. He eased his way in the game. It's a divisional game, so they've been playing Patrick Mahomes. They've played him more than anybody else. So they kind of had a number on him. They was rushing him, kind of getting out of his comfort zone. Did a lot more running than he's ever done. 6 attempts for 54 yards. But his numbers were Patrick Mahomes' numbers. 27 for 47. Way too many throws. And they have a running game. So 24 for 47, 302 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the game-winning drive. Really, like I said, really didn't get going till the 4th. I just don't know. I know it sounds like I'm saying that a lot, but from watching that game, because I got that game, so I watched that game from start to finish. It just didn't look. Nick Bosa, that's what it was. Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa was wreaking havoc, and if it's not Nick Bosa, it's his brother. I always forget which Bosa plays for the Chargers. So one of the Bosa brothers was making life hard for Patrick Mahomes. They were making life hard. But just like Kansas City does every time they're down, they came back and won in overtime, and that reminds you why they're the Super Bowl champions. It's just the KC way, apparently. That's going to choke them up one day, whether it's in the playoffs or another Super Bowl. Them thinking they can come back from any deficit is really going to hurt Kansas City going down the line. Now, who knows? It might not, but I think that's going to hurt them in one game. They're going to think they're going to be able to come back, but they're not going to be able to come back. And I think it's going to be a big game, too, that it happens. And I thought this was that game, but it wasn't, because Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes. So now we get to the biggest game of the week, even bigger than our nightcap game. Dak Prescott. I hate to be that guy, but I feel like anybody could have did what Dak Prescott did, because it was against Atlanta. Like Atlanta is not. I say this all the time. They played Atlanta. There's no reason I should come on here and say, yeah, he did those numbers and they won 39. They won 39-7. Because that's how little respect I have for Atlanta Falcons. Now, I'm sorry for all the Atlanta Falcons fans who will see this and will see this, but your team's not very good. Your team's not very good. Dan Quinn has lost 2 big leads. You should have a Super Bowl. You don't. But I will say, in all seriousness, Dallas did play really well. They should have played that well at the beginning of the game. They did a really good job of getting our receivers involved. CeeDee Lamb is the truth. Michael Gallup had some big catches. Zeke was Zeke, 22 attempts for 89 yards. And now let's talk about Dak's game that I don't think is too impressive. 34-47, 450 yards. And I'm going to get to this with the Cam game. His 450, to me personally, is not as impressive as Cam's numbers. Just for the way that you shouldn't have been in that situation to have those numbers. You're playing Atlanta. you shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. So the fact he threw for 450 yards and 1 touchdown, but I think he rushed for 4. No, it's 3 or 4. I put the numbers. Of course, I'll put the numbers up there. And it just, I don't know. It just feels to me that anybody could have did what Dak did. Like, I want to give Dak his credit, but just watching the game and watching the highlights, it didn't seem like it was, oh my God, Dak is just this wizard. He's dialing them up. And it didn't feel like that. Like, when I watch Kyler Murray, I'm like, oh yeah, this dude is balling. When I watch Lamar Jackson, I'm like, yeah, this dude balling. When I watch Kansas City come back, I'm like, oh yeah, dude's balling. With Dak, it's just like, he was there for the ride, you know? He just so happened to be the quarterback that led him to the win, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, maybe I'm hating on Dallas. Let me know if I'm hating on Dallas. I try my best not to hate on Dallas. My mom's fiance hates Dallas. But I don't know, it just doesn't feel like this 450 is really impressive to me. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's against Atlanta, so I don't know. We have one more game. Best game, probably to me, best game of the night. Cam Newton versus Russell Wilson. I don't think I give enough credit to Russell Wilson, and that's why he's the thumbnail. That's why I chose him for the thumbnail this week. I don't think we give Russell Wilson enough credit for how masterful he is. This dude is balling. Like out of control balling. Like, it's different. It's different, dude. Like, what Russell Wilson is doing against elite talent is ridiculous. He's doing this with elite talent without elite talent on his side. He got DK Metcalf out here looking like Dez Bryant 2.0. Like, it is just ridiculous what he's doing with less. 21 for 28, 288 yards, 5 touchdowns and interception, 5 attempts for 39 yards. That's just a whole hum day for him. That's just a whole hum day for him. Like, it is just amazing what he's doing. Russell, or him, Mahomes, and Lamar. It's them three, and then it's everybody else. And then Deshaun is on the top of that second class. And the only reason he's on the second of the top of the class is because Deshaun's more of a gunslinger. So if he was a little more, not a gunslinger, he would be in that top class. And he plays for Houston, unfortunately. So, Russell Wilson was great last night. He was great. He was great last night. Like, the throws he was making, you just gotta marvel at the throws, and you're just like, you're not supposed to be able to make those type of throws. He threw a pass to DK Metcalf. It was so beautiful. Right over the shoulder, right in the bread basket, and he couldn't do nothing but take it in the end zone. Like, and he had like 3 or 4 of those. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing to see what Russell Wilson is doing. And I'm so glad I don't root for the Rams anymore, because he had been in my division. So let's not take away from what Cam doing. Cam had a 2015. Cam had an MVP performance last night. And I was talking about earlier about another one of these quarterbacks, another one of these coaches to open up the playbook, and they did. I was talking about Cam. I wrote in my notes they need to open it up a little more, and almost immediately after that, Cam started lighting them up. Completed 30 out of 44 passes. That was louder than Dak Prescott's in a winning effort, because you could tell that Cam Newton's was more needed. It was more needed. Like, if Cam doesn't do that, they don't even sniff being in that game. As if Dak did it, I think they might have still won, because it's Atlanta. Like, maybe I'm just being stupid on Cam, or being stupid on Dak Prescott, but Cam played well. The pick was really bad, but after the pick, he went off. I always had the numbers after the pick. I don't like the play call at the end. They ran a similar play, which I loved. If I can find it, I'll show you. The play they scored on, they should have ran that just to the opposite direction. They wasn't even planning that. The fake when Cam's looking like he's about to run and throw it over the top to the fullback. If they would have ran that play again, they would have won the game. Because nobody was anticipating for that play. But I just think Cam wanted to be a team player. So they should have won that game. Nobody thought they'd be in that game. Nobody thought much of Cam, but I am so happy he played well. He's getting the credit he deserved. Even Colin has something nice to say about him. And y'all all know Colin Card is the Skip Bayless to Cam Newton. So that's all I got for you guys. Wonderful day of action. I wish I could have talked about the Anthony Davis buzzer beater, but I think I'm gonna stray away from basketball. I might have one-offs videos about basketball, but great day of sports. Hopefully y'all join me next time on the Black Quarterback Series. Y'all have a good rest of the week. I'll see y'all next Tuesday.